Okay, so the yodeling thing is hard to figure out
Yeah.
because I've done a little research on this because I obviously am culpable in spreading it around at this point. But
Mhm.
the early yodels, as we know them in the country canon, don't come from like Swiss yodels. Uh, it appears to be a combination of sort of this like fox hunt yip rebel yell field holler combination, sort of like what made up the South demographically wasn't coming from like the polka Swiss Alps yodeling tradition. It
Mhm.
was from just from agriculture and forced labor and stuff like that. So if you get early blues performers like Tommy Johnson that are doing warbling yodel type stuff, the Mississippi Sheiks have yodeling songs. So it was in the blues canon. It wasn't just in the white hillbilly canon. But as far as I know, the sort of like king of yodeling, as we understand in country music, in terms of the origin, would be Riley Puckett, and then going on to Jimmy Rogers. But like all that is based in the South. But then you also start seeing, as soon as those early records are made in the 20s, performers in Minnesota and the California and Arizona, and they pick up on the fact like, oh, we can make these noises. Like this isn't,
Right.
this is something from the moon. Like you can't, just because you're born within 100 miles of the swamp doesn't mean that you can yodel automatically. It's like
Yeah.
so, so people from those other backgrounds, like people in the Midwest who did the polkas and who were from Northern Europe, contributed to that yodeling stuff. Hank Snow obviously is Canadian and he can yodel really well. So it's like it was something that, in terms of where it was recorded and the specific influences on someone like Jimmy Rogers, that's very much like, yes, part of the unique cross section of demography and geography that you get in the South. But I think what people hear in my voice, and they're hearing some of those older recordings, it's just kind of that the mountain voice, whatever that is, where I think a comfort with volume and a certain amount of the geography of like having hills and hollows and valleys and stuff where you get to hear yourself sort of amplified. I think that comfort with volume comes with hilly terrain. So that's really the only thing I could say, is that if my style is rooted in landscape or has any influence in landscape, it's because of rocky, mountainy, open places where I kind of got used to being able to be as loud as I wanted to, which is, very fortunate for me, because otherwise I don't know how I would have ended up.
Right. Yeah. You need some space to practice, you know?
Exactly.